We are living in an interesting time. Right now, in February 2024, 4 dozen or so companies across Germany for the next 6 months are trying a bold new experiment. And to be honest, this was not something I was expecting in such a traditional economy such as Germany. 4-day work weeks are nothing new. They've been tried all over the world, but probably not in Japan, where they have a specific word for death by overwork.
Karoshi.
Sorry, Japan. But here in Europe, there's already been a 4-day workweek experiment in the UK, if you can consider that part of Europe. At the end of the experiment, 92% of the companies decided to continue using the 4-day workweek, which makes me really ask, what was life like at the other 8% after? G'day, mate. Oi, what's that? Well, righty-o. I'll log right in. Cheerio. What an utter spanner. Now, the Deutsche Welle article I was reading about this gave a couple of reasons for this experiment. Number one, it's supposed to be for the well-being of the workers. And that kind of makes sense given the fact that German workers take more sick days than pretty much anyone else in Europe. Also, a more rested and less stressed worker is bound to be more productive. I think the firms that hop onto this trend early are really going to win out. I know if I was offered a job working 4 days a week or another working 5 days a week for the same salary, that would be a pretty easy decision to make. As an American, all this seems rather strange, given the fact that we can't even take a vacation without getting harassed on Slack. Just read the email, Steve. Oh my god. Why do I have to deal with this on my vacation? Now, I've never worked for a German company before, but from the people I've talked to, it sounds like it can be a little bit stressful. Luckily, Germans seem to have much better ways of coping with stress than their American counterparts, especially when they're able to take vacations and turn their phones off. And I know German viewers might find it hilarious or even strange, but that is really the case in the US. I don't know anybody who goes on vacation and doesn't have to send at least one work email. Even when I've had friends of mine from the States visit me here, they tend to spend at least about 15 to 30 minutes every day on their laptops answering emails that just can't wait. I'm not really sure if the US is ready for an experiment with a 4-day work week, but I really think that we could benefit from one. Something else that I've found interesting here in Munich and Bavaria and also in Baden-Württemberg, just southern Germany in general, is that Sundays are a rest day here, which means most of these shops are closed, including grocery stores, clothing, things like that. The only things that are really open are restaurants and cafes and museums. This means it's a quiet day to spend with your loved ones, spend with your friends, or just enjoy a nice stroll through the park. And personally, I love that change of pace. That's one of the things I was looking for moving here. I'm not really sure what life was like here in Germany during the pandemic, but I can tell you what it was like for me in New York. We had about 2 weeks where all offices were just closed completely, and some of them remain closed today, and they just have full remote workforces. This is especially hilarious when a lot of the companies I knew had previously told their workers there was no way that they could work remotely, even though they really just go to the office and sit in front of their computers. And suddenly, during those 2 weeks of lockdown, people realized, oh, actually we can continue to work like this. It's not really a problem. And I know for myself, I really enjoyed not having to commute 1 hour every day in my car. Remote work went from something that was relegated to a very few positions and saw as this magical, crazy, experimental thing, and now it's part of our lexicon. And I'm wondering if this is going to be the same case for the 4-day work week. Maybe not all companies will do it, but if enough of them do, that's going to be such a draw for new workers and from the talent pool that it might encourage even more firms to open up. Of course, I'm also really excited to see what the knock-on effects for this experiment are going to be. Personally, I'm really curious if consumption is going to go up or down with that extra free time. Which is kind of funny because in the US, we don't really have any free time, but we still consume quite a bit. So I'm not really sure what to make of that. I'm curious what my German viewers think about all this, and I want you to share your experiences in the comments below, especially if you work for a firm now or used to. Would a 4-day work week have worked for your company? Do you think it's a good thing? Or do you think it's just a fad? I'd be curious to know what you think. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.